What's up, guys, and welcome to the weekly Q&A. Before we get started, real quick, I need to say thank you to Jeffrey Bove, who just joined the Jedi Council tier on Patreon. Jeffrey, that's huge. I'm always blown away when someone wants to show us that much support, so just thank you. I can't express in words how much that means to us. Our first question comes from Nicholas, who asks if we know how Ben Solo fell to the dark side, and if it had anything to do with the way that Luke was training him, and maybe he was setting him up for easy temptation. We don't have a clear, defined answer about this yet, so I'm just going to speculate. This is a complete guess, but I think that Luke was probably being a little bit withholding or careful in the way that he was teaching his students. He saw what happened with Anakin. He knows the dangers of the dark side, so I think he was probably going slower than maybe Ben Solo would have wanted. I think he probably wanted more information faster. And then when he was 23, about 6 years before The Force Awakens, he finds out that Darth Vader was his grandfather. That information becomes public knowledge in the book Bloodline. I think that probably created a lot of confusion within him, and I bet it made him easy pickings for Snoke, and he pounced on that opportunity and pulled Ben Solo to the dark side. And so I'm basing that off of what we know from the book Bloodline, and then other mythologies about, just the power of knowledge and kind of like withholding it and the desire for more. That's a common trope in fantasy and mythology. So that's where I'm coming from, but your guess right now is as good as mine. Wasty Dest wants to know if Snoke might be running from something else in the unknown regions, or if he is the threat that's looming out there that's been kind of hinted at in the content outside of the films. I think Snoke is the big bad of this trilogy. I think he is that threat that's being hinted to. I think he fits those hints very well. So I think it's Snoke. I haven't seen anything to suggest that he is scared of anything except for Luke Skywalker. Do I think that Rian Johnson's new trilogy is going to focus on the unknown regions? Not really. I mean, we don't know right now, but my guess is that it'll take place in the known galaxy. Jay Keckler asks about Johnson's hints that we might see a new hue or color of lightsaber in The Last Jedi. It's kind of hard to know what he means there. He could just mean that we're going to see a new color to the films. Like, there have been a lot of colors in the comics and books and the TV shows, like orange, yellow, white, stuff that we've just never seen in the movies. So I think that's the more likely scenario, is that we might see a white lightsaber or something like the Darksaber in The Last Jedi. It's not going to be new to canon. It'll just be the first time that we see this color on the big screen. John Wayne wants to know why Qui-Gon didn't intervene with anything Yoda or Obi-Wan did in the original trilogy. Why did he never chime in and give his 2 cents? The From a Certain Point of View book gets around this idea, this deus ex machina of the Force Ghosts, by saying that it's kind of painful for Qui-Gon to do that, to manifest himself. But it's more like an emotional pain, like he doesn't want to separate himself from being one with the Force. It's like this whole thing where he has to become himself again. It reminded me a lot of Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen, who is just kind of getting bored with mortals and their problems. He's kind of transcended that. He's now one with the Force. So I think he just was kind of losing interest, and he just wanted to be one with the Force, and he would only appear when Obi-Wan really needed him. But who knows? We might see Qui-Gon in The Last Jedi. That might refute that. Like, I'm still hoping that we see Force Ghosts in the film. Nothing confirmed there. It's just something I want to see. But yeah, I think that the reason he didn't chime in the original trilogy, we can say that it's just because he didn't really care. Cascadian Ranger asks if it's possible that we could see the return of Shizor in the upcoming live-action show. I think it would be very easy to make Shizor canon again. Black Sun is already a thing. We know it's still run by the feline species, so it's a really small step to make Shizor canon. Like, it just makes sense to me. I do think he would be a very compelling villain for a live-action show, especially if it does wind up focusing on the criminal underworld. That's it for patron questions. If you're a patron and didn't see your question answered here, just head over to Patreon where I left you a written response. If you're not a patron, you can learn more by following the link in the description. Just $1 a month will get you access to extra Star Wars Explained goodies like audio commentaries for the films or roles on my Discord server, and the combined donations really go a long way in supporting the channel. On to YouTube questions. AJ Johnson asks if Luke had any relationships in the new canon. I assume you mean romantic. He had a brief flirtation with a character in Heir to the Jedi, but outside of that, nothing that we currently know of. My impression is that after Return of the Jedi, he was more focused on the Force and the future of the Jedi, but I could be wrong. It's still possible that Mara Jade or someone like her could fit in somewhere. That random guy standing over there wants to know if Lucasfilm winds up making From a Certain Point of View books for The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. What characters do I want to see featured? I'm not going to name 80 characters here, but I'll give you a few. In Empire, I would like to see Lobot, Dak, Wedge after the Battle of Hoth, and maybe an Ugnaught. For Return of the Jedi, I would love to see Max Rebo, Nine Nub, and Wicket. And then Thane Kyrell and Ciena Ree, it would be cool to bring them back. They could fit in for either film. Mitwit Gaming asks what Leia was the senator of in the New Republic since her homeworld was destroyed. A lot of senators represented sectors in the galaxy, so while her homeworld was gone, there were still planets in her sector that needed representation. And even if that weren't the case, I would expect Leia would be involved as a senator, even if it was just like an honorary position, given her service in the Imperial Senate and the Rebellion and building the New Republic in general. Lego Man 716 wants to know when we can expect a live-action film that takes place before The Phantom Menace. I still think the most likely scenario for Rian Johnson's new trilogy is that it will be before The Phantom Menace in that era. There's a lot of news spreading around right now that he said it won't be taking place in the Old Republic, but that's not what he said. He said that he won't be remaking the story from Knights of the Old Republic, and there's a big difference there. I Love Griffin asks if the box office for Solo, a Star Wars story, might suffer since it comes out in the same month as Avengers Infinity War. I really doubt it. I mean, first of all, it's Star Wars. People are going to go see it no matter when it comes out. But also, both films are owned by Disney. I think they know what they're doing. They certainly know more than I do. And they've had ample opportunity to delay the release, what with all the drama that's happened this past year. But they're sticking with May, so yeah, I think it's going to do just fine. That's all the time I have for questions today. If you want to leave a question for next week's video, just put it in the comments or sign up for Patreon to join our weekly Q&A discussion. But next week is going to be a little bit different. I suggest that you wait a little bit to post your questions because I want them all to be about The Last Jedi since it's only a week away. So what I want you to do is after you see the film, be it today or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, come back here then and post your questions about the film. I'm going to see it Thursday evening, and then I'm going to review it that night, and then I'm going to shoot the Q&A Friday morning. So that's kind of your window. I guess most of you are probably going to see it Thursday night as well, so I'm just hoping to get a bunch of questions then. Also, if you haven't seen it yet, I was in the Star Wars Movie Trivia Schmodown over at Collider Videos, where I took on Sam Witwer, Joseph Scrimshaw, Steele Saunders, and Geek Girl Diva. If you've ever wanted to see how well I know Star Wars trivia outside of this channel, please go give it a watch. It was a lot of fun. I won't spoil how it went. Just go check it out. It was great fun. I loved being a part of it. But that's it for today. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.